Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Switch on your cams. Let's start off. So last thing we did, the work power energy definition. So before going ahead, there is one thing I wanted to show you. Everyone keep your cams on. This is a small point in one of the sheet which we did. It came. Centripetal acceleration. So I thought I'll just define it for you guys. So when you have a pendulum and this point was fixed, and this is going with speed u. So what is the acceleration here? The centripetal acceleration here is u square by L. No issue. But what if you have something like this, a ring and a pendulum, and this guy is going with u and this guy is going with v? Then what happens? See, when you talk the speed, now it is, you always have to stand on the center and solve the problem, meaning the observer is standing here and then he thinks it is going in a circle. So with respect to the observer, if you stand on that center of that pendulum thing, you will think this is going with u minus v. So now what happens to your centripetal acceleration? It's u minus v whole square by r. Basically, it is relative. So the important statement here is when you're at a centripetal is v square by r, v is the relative velocity with respect to the center. In case if the center is moving, you need to stand on the center and do the problem. If the center is not moving, that is okay. Then it will be that speed only. So just put this down. You can add this in circular motion ka chapter in centripetal acceleration. Just do this, 1 minute. Put it up. Put this down. Copy. Next thing. So
just a minute.
turn in the page. What is there to write? Right? There are 3 diagrams. Why are you guys taking so much time? I write fast or you guys write slow? I'm damn sure I don't write fast. Look at that handwriting. Not to write fast also you won't get. I know I still write beautiful, but yeah. My mom just scolds me even till today. Huh? What kind of handwriting is that? You just scribble it. I said, yeah, for a physics teacher that is good enough. Next one. So hope everyone revised the notes, the work energy theorem and everything, conservation of energy. So let's see a problem. We got a bits like this. So you have a block here, 2 kg block. This is smooth. So this point is B and this point is A. This is 10 meters height and this is 5 meters height. So what will happen? So the block slides on a smooth wedge and falls off B. So the block will come till here and it will fall like this now. So this here we call it a range. So there are two questions: find the speed at B and find range. So when the block goes from A to B, what is the speed? And from there it will fly off the cliff. Na? So what is the range? Hope the question is clear. Anyone who didn't get the question, please ask me. It's like we are doing work power energy plus kinematics. Put it on, I'll give a minute or so. Let's see. Let me help you with this thing. See, one thing I'll tell you, see, in entire mechanics, right, we have two set of weapons with us. One is your loss of motion. Second is your conservations. Now you need to have an idea which one to use when, roughly at least, it should click, okay, this is what I think I should use. How do you know that? See, there are some of the words, which are pretty evident from the question. Find the final velocity, find the position, find the velocity when it reaches there, find a maximum height, find a maximum elongation. You hear these kind of words. If you listen to these words, look at here. For example, find the speed at B, meaning you're not interested what is happening in the middle, isn't it? I really don't care what is happening in the middle. I just want the speed at B. So if you see now, whenever someone is ignoring whatever happening in the middle and they just wanted something in the end, he's indirectly telling you use conservation of energy. Suppose if they ask you find the force, find normal reaction, find the friction, find time taken, find acceleration. Now, if I ask you these kind of words, you have to draw a free body diagram. Without free body diagram, you can't get a force. So roughly have this idea. If you this much, if you figure out now 90% of the problems, you'll understand what to do. So now listen carefully how we do this thing. We define the states. So this is my reference level. This is my state 1. Potential energy, mg10. mgh, h is the height from the ground frame. Kinetic energy, 0. You're starting from rest. When the block comes here, the speed is v. State 2. This is my final state. Potential energy, mg5. Kinetic energy, half mv square. Since work done by external force is 0, there are no external forces. See, gravity is not external. Initial energy is equal to final energy. Initial energy is mg10. Final energy is mg5. plus half mv square. M gets cancelled. That's 150 plus v square by 2. So we get v square is 100. So speed is 10 meters per second. So when the block reaches B, it will go down with this speed. Then kinematics. So basically the question has become like this. So now you have a block going with the speed of 10 meters per second at a height of 5 meters. So this will fall somewhere here. Now remember I told you in kinematics, from whichever point you're throwing, that point is always the origin. Now hope you remember this formula, but if you don't remember, I'll just show you. Sy is uyt plus half a. This is a general equation. What is the displacement? Minus 5. Why? Because you're going down vertically. What is vertical velocity? 0. Gravity is minus g. So we get time is equal to 1 second. This was the formula in case you don't remember, root 2h by g. This is valid only when you throw from a building horizontally, root 2h by g. What is range? Horizontal velocity into time. Horizontal velocity is 10, time is 1, so 10 meters. Meaning this block is going to fall 10 meters from the base of the cliff. Put it up. So first thing you need to find the speed at B using work per energy, and after that it is simply a kinematics problem. Any doubts in any particular step?
Sir,
Right.
sir, for finding the range, we can directly use equation of trajectory also. No? We can take theta as 0.
Then, and you'll take y as what?
5.
Minus 5.
Yes, minus 5.
But you get the unnecessarily quadratic equation, na? X square mein. You will get the answer.
Sir, we get directly. X square is 100, so x will be 10.
Why x square is 100? You have to find x.
Yeah, but by that we get directly because u square cos square theta, so we'll keep theta as 0. Because it is so horizontally, so cos 0 will be 1.
Okay.
So below it will be 2 into u square, that is 2 into 10 square.
Right.
So in the denominator it will be 200, and in the numerator
minus y x tan theta, na? Okay, theta 0 ho gaya, na? So you're saying.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Nothing wrong, but I'm trying to keep it generalized how to solve. Any doubts on this thing? This now, you could have done like this also. See, loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. This you must have studied in school. Because the total work done is 0, whatever potential energy you lose is equal to kinetic energy. So how much are you losing? mg 10 minus 5, so you lost 5 meters of height, is equal to half mv squared. So you get v is equal to 10 meters per second directly from here. Meaning this is always a better way to write, so that in case the problem becomes complicated, you can do that. But in the exam, in order to save time, you can directly finish off like that. Loss in potential energy is gain in kinetic energy. You lost 5 meters of height, that is mg5 is half mv square. Single step, you get the velocity. Then the kinematics part you still have to do anyways. Clear? Next one. Turning the page. This is a good one. Multiple things we'll be doing in this. So we have a pendulum, mass M. So this is position A, this is position B, this is position C. This angle is 60 degree, this angle is 30 degree. Length of the pendulum is L. This point is fixed. So a pendulum is released from a horizontal position whenever someone says released, meaning it is at rest. Horizontal position is what? A basically. So then what will happen? It will swing, it will go along ABC and all. So it swings along the circle ABC. That is from position A. So it swings along ABC. So find the first question. Speed at B and C. Initially, if you are leaving from rest, what is the speed at B and C? Acceleration at ABC. So what is the initial acceleration when you left? B and C. Tension at B and C. Tension at ABC. If you see, this is literally 8 different questions. We are just doing everything in one question. It helps us, for a better understanding when you do multiple things at the same time. But you'll get any one question, in the exam. Hope the question is clear. You have a pendulum, you left it from a horizontal position, it swings. So ABC 3 positions, 30, 60 degree. Let's do the first part. Find the speed at B and C. Give it a try. I'll give it 2-3 minutes for that. Speed at B and C. Anyone got the speed at B and C? Let me show you. Get the first one. So this was 30. So this was A, B, and C. So A is our state 1. So I'll choose this as my reference line. You can choose any line as a reference. There is no restriction. I'm just taking the top one as a reference line. So what is the potential energy here? This is my state 1. Potential energy, 0. Kinetic energy, 0, because you're starting from rest. What is this height? If this is length L, this length is L sine 30, which is L by 2. So what is the potential energy at B? Minus mg L by 2. Why minus? You are below the reference line. Kinetic energy, half m Vb square. Here let the velocity be C. What is the potential energy? Minus mgl, because you're at a depth of L from the reference line. Kinetic energy, half m Vc square. Any doubts on the energy terms? Minus you have to write if you're below the reference line. Above the reference line is positive. Next thing, work done by all forces is 0. But there is a tension here. See, mg is not external force, but tension is an external force. Na? What about the work done by tension? Anyone can tell me what is the work done by tension? It is 0. Why? Since tension is always perpendicular to displacement, na? Tension will be like this and it is perpendicular to the displacement, isn't it? Since tension is perpendicular to displacement, the work done is 0. Because displacement is tangential, tension is along the normal. So therefore, work done by external force is equal to 0. So you can say energy at state A is equal to energy at state B is equal to energy at state C. Energy is constant. So if I take energy at state A is equal to energy at state B, energy at state A is 0, minus mg L by 2 plus half m Vb square. Gets cancelled, half gets cancelled. You get Vb is equal to root GL. Similarly, energy at state A is also equal to energy at state C. So 0 is equal to minus mgl plus half m V square. So Vc will be root 2 GL. Check it out. Again, end of the day, if you see, we didn't do anything hi-fi here. The only thing we need to figure out is it has fallen a height. We are interested in the height. We are not interested in the distance or displacements. How much did it fall vertically? It fell L sine theta. How much did it fall vertically? L. So you could have written simply loss in potential energy and gain in kinetic energy also. That would have still worked. So that important thing is that what you're interested is actually how much depth it is falling down. You're not interested how it is actually going. That is the whole advantage of a potential energy. Put it down. That is the first part, the speeds. Next part, you have to find accelerations and tensions. You try. I'll give you 2-3 minutes. Put this down, but any doubts on this thing, ask me. See the second part. Turn in the page. So listen carefully. Yeah, this is the little tougher one. At this position, now see, I ask you the tension. The moment I ask you regarding a force, you don't have a choice but to draw an FBD. Tension, mg. There are two forces. And remember, whenever you're going in an arc, you'll always have two accelerations: centripetal, tangential. Don't forget that. Right? So what is a centripetal? VA square by L. But what is VA? Zero, no? Initially, it is at rest, meaning there is no centripetal acceleration initially. Therefore, tension is mass into centripetal acceleration is also zero. So initially, spring में tension is zero. And we know mg is equal to mass into A tangential. So A tangential is g. So this is the acceleration of A. So initial position where tension is zero and the ball will simply fall like a freely falling body. Next thing. If you look at this position B, I just exaggerated the figure a little. So what are the forces? Tension, mg. There are only two forces acting. Now, if you see this angle was 60, so this was 60. So the components will be mg cos 60, mg sin 60. Again, there will be always two accelerations: centripetal, tangential. What is centripetal? Vb square by r. L, radius, whatever. What is Vb? Just now we derived, check it out. Root GL. What is A tangential? Mg sin 60. That's a tangential force. Mg sin 60. M is into A tangential. So A tangential is G sin 60. That's G root 3 by 2. So if someone asks you what is acceleration at B, you should write acceleration at B is root over A centripetal acceleration plus A tangential acceleration. Why didn't I do that here? Because A centripetal was 0, it didn't matter. So what is A centripetal? G square. What is A tangential? G square 3 by 4. You end up with root 7 by 2 G. What about the tension at B? Tension at B is TB minus mg cos 60 is equal to mass into centripetal acceleration. So TB is mg cos 60, that is mg by 2, and ma centripetal, which is g, 3 mg by 2. The B part question, right? The tension at B and acceleration at B, that is a tough one. Meaning in NEET, it is like pretty rare they'll ask you that. Meaning you can say almost 10 is to 90. Meaning 10 questions of 100 will be of that sort. But in mains, it's almost 40 out of 100. There's a 5 to 10% chance they'll ask something like this in NEET, the B part. Mostly in NEET, they'll ask you at the lower position. They'll keep it simple. But can't say. They want to torture you, they can ask you this much. Find the acceleration at B. You have to find the speed, you have a tangential and a centripetal. But it means you should become comfortable with that level of questions. Check it out. Again, see, we did nothing. We found the speed from the work per energy. Then we drawed FBD. We resolved the forces along the string, perpendicular to the string. Since you're going in a circle, there's a tangential acceleration and a centripetal acceleration. Centripetal is V square by R. We substitute and solve. Look at each and every equation. Anywhere you're not convinced, didn't understand, please ask me, get it cleared. It's an important problem and a good one. If you see, there's a work per energy, resolution of vectors, laws of motion, circular motion, 4 chapters. This is what you are being trained for from the last 7-8 months. The moment you get comfortable with this level of problems now, trust me, you're in the top 4 to 5% of the students in the exams you're preparing. Clear? Next page. You still have to find it C. So at the lowest position, what will happen? Forces, tension at C, mg, but there are only two forces. Centripetal acceleration, which is Vc square by L, which is 2g. A tangential, that is 0. There is no horizontal forces, no? So we get tension at C minus mg is mac. 3 mg. So you see here the catch in the problem, na? Can you see what is happening here? Meaning at the lowest position, the person will feel as if the gravity has become triple. Means you feel your weight is 3 times the normal. So whenever you're in a swing, na, and you're swinging to and fro, this is what actually happens with your body. Your weight of the body is fluctuating, you know. At the highest point, you're freely falling. There is no weight only. But as you're coming down, it becomes triple, 3 times the weight. So your body is undergoing a lot of stress, you know. There's a fluctuation of weight from 0 to 3. If you're assuming you're dropped from a horizontal position. So it starts releasing all kind of hormones in order to protect you. And here you think, it's excitement, it is fun. And body thinks like, I'm dying here, idiot, and you think it is fun for you. And kind of, yeah. That's how your swing works. So next time when you're sitting on a swing and you're having fun, remember centripetal acceleration. That is the reason for your happiness. Put it on. So there we found the tension and acceleration. We have done both B and C together. Next one. Turn in the page. We have a pendulum. This is fixed. This is mass M. And this was length L. So you pulled the pendulum by an angle theta, like this, and released it. So a pendulum is pulled by angle theta or displaced by theta and released. So you just took the pendulum, you know, to the side and you left it from there. Maximum tension the string can withstand is 2 mg. Meaning tension, right? It cannot take how much ever force you want. There is a limit now. Max tension string can withstand is 2 mg, meaning double the weight. The moment the tension becomes 2 mg, it will break. So the question is find max theta so that string does not break. So when you are pulling and leaving, just now we discussed the tension will change. So by maximum, what angle can you pull it and leave so that the string does not break? Hope the question is clear. You have a pendulum, you pull it by theta, left it, so the tension will change. So if you exceed a certain angle, the tension becomes so high, it will break. So what is the maximum angle you can go up to? Put it on, give it a try, 1-2 minutes. Anyway, I hope everyone is clear with the question. Not clear, please ask me. And others, keep your cams on. See, first thing you need to understand, what is the most dangerous point here? The tension is maximum at the lowest position. Why? Because the speed is maximum. Getting it? Why? Because when it is swinging, the speed is maximum at the lowest position. So the tension is maximum at the lowest position. So if it does not break there, it does not break anywhere else. Clear? Next thing. Then how do you start this thing? Now see, you are taking from here. Let's say you are leaving it from here. So this is theta. So what is this height? That will be L cos theta. So what will be this balance length? That will be L into 1 minus cos theta. Agreed? So now this is state 1, this is state 2. You can take anything as a reference line. I'll choose this as my reference. So state 1, potential energy mg L into 1 minus cos theta. Kinetic energy 0 because you're starting from rest. Here we'll have some speed v. Potential energy is 0. Kinetic energy half mv square. Since work done by external force is 0, energy in state 1 is equal to energy in state 2. You get mgl 1 minus cos theta is equal to half mv square. So from here I get v square is 2gl into 1 minus cos theta. That is 1. Second thing, at the lowest position, if you draw the FBD, what are the forces? Tension, mg, centrifugal force. Now the moment I use the word centrifugal force, where is the observer? Observer is sitting on this. Then you might feel like, okay, sir, why are you using centrifugal force now? Now see, there is nothing wrong. You can use centripetal acceleration or centrifugal force. Both will give the same answer. Now you need to understand. See, in the previous question, he was asking you, find the acceleration. Means he's telling you to do it from the ground frame. So always keep this understanding, okay? If you use centripetal acceleration, you're standing on the ground. If you use centrifugal force, your observer is on the body. And if you ask the observer what is the acceleration, what will he say? He will say 0. Observer thinks pendulum is at rest. Because it is not moving only, no? That is a difference. So you could have used centripetal acceleration also. But remember, you can't use both at the same time. So that will be T minus mg minus mv square by L is mass into acceleration, which was 0. So tension is mg plus mv square by L. So we got two equations. Put it on. I'll solve it in the next page. Figure out any doubts, ask me on this thing. Put it on. Copy. Next page. So we got our two equations. So tension is mg plus mv square by L. And we have v square was 2gl 1 minus cos theta. So take this and put it here. And we also know what is the maximum tension, 2 mg. That is given. So 2 mg is equal to mg plus m by L. That would be 2gl 1 minus cos theta. L gets cancelled. Mg gets cancelled. You end up with 2 is equal to 1 plus 2 into 1 minus cos theta. You get 1 is equal to 2 into 1 minus cos theta. Cos theta is equal to r, meaning theta is 60 degree. So if theta is greater than 60, so if you make it swing more than 60 degrees, it breaks off even before reaching the lowest position. So like, that is a catch in the problem. So you have to find the velocity and the tension at the bottom. So if you are up to 60 degrees, it is safe. Anything more, you have 1. Clear? Turning the page. If you see, those are some based on pendulum stuff. Next thing. Work done to stretch a spring from natural length to X is W1. Meaning you got a spring, you stretch it from natural length to X. Work done to stretch from X to 2X, meaning from there you want to stretch further, X is W2. Find W1 by W2. So you have a spring, you stretch it from 0 to X, then you stretch it from X to 2X. In the 0 to X ka work done is W1, X to 2X ka work done is W2. So remember spring potential energy, how much it is? It is half K X square, where X is elongation or compression from natural length. Try, I'll give you a minute. So you got a spring, you stretch it by X, and then you stretch it another X. So how much effort will it take in the second case to the first case? Any answers? Remember this thing, work done by external forces is change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy. In this case, kinetic energy is zero because there is no motion, no velocity only. Initially, finally, it is at rest. And here, so work done by the W1 is how much then? Change in potential energy, that is final minus initial. So final is half kx square, initial is 0. What is work done by W2? Half k 2x whole square, that is your final, minus initial half k x square. Does it make sense? Because the spring potential energy is half kx square, final minus initial. So final is half kx square and 0 for this guy. Final is 2x and initial is x for this guy. So this thing turns out to be half kx square, and this would be 3 by 2 x square. So we get W1 by W2, meaning whatever energy you're putting is in 1:3 ratio. Meaning if you had gone this way, see, 0 to x, x to 2x, 2x to 3x. Then the ratio would have been 1:2, 3:5. Meaning the more you stretch, more difficult it becomes to keep it elongating. You need to put more and more effort. Because the sequence will be like this now. See, this is 1 square minus 0 square, 2 square minus 1 square. Next will be 3 square minus 2 square. So you keep getting that sequence. It takes more effort to stretch it second time compared to the first time. Because whatever work you're doing will go for the spring potential energy. It does not go to kinetic energy. Put it down. Anything you didn't get, please ask me. Here, next one.
So 1 second.
Next one. We have a spring here. We have a block. The spring constant is 100 Newton per meter. It's a 1 kg block. This is at a height of 5 meters. So here what we did, the block is pushed against the spring. So you took the block and you pushed it left hand side. By 10 centimeters and released. So let's call this point A. So find speed VA and range. So what will happen, this block right from the table will come back and will fall somewhat here now. It is just like your dart gun. You take the dart, put it in the gun and push it back, isn't it? And then you fire. So basically, this is what you're doing. You push the block against the spring, and when you release it, the spring will push you out. So the block will come with some speed and will fly off the table. So hope you're getting the visualization, the diagram, how it is. So with what speed it will fly off the table and with where it will fall on the ground. Check it out. Any doubts in the question, ask me. Question is clear, go ahead, I'll give you 3 minutes. Just keep doing. I'll be back in a minute. So any answers? See, this is a spring when it is compressed. And when the block is about to fly. So this is my reference. So this is my state 1. So initially it is compressed by how much? So gravitational potential energy is 0. Spring potential energy is half k x square. So it is half, k is 100, x is 0.1 square. So that's half joule. Kinetic energy 0 because you're starting from rest. This is my state 2. Gravitational energy 0 because you're still on the same height. Spring energy is 0 because the spring got into natural length. Kinetic energy was half mv square. Energy in state 1 is equal to energy in state 2. We're still on the table part of this thing. So this will be half is equal to half mv square, and then m is 1. So v is equal to 1 meter per second. Great. The next part. Now the problem has become like, from the table, you're falling a 5-meter height. We have done something like this just now today. So now you got a speed of 1 meter per second. So what is the time of flight? Root over 2h by g. So that's 2 into 5 by 10. So that is 1 second. So range will be horizontal velocity into time of flight. That's 1 into 1. So 1 meter. Yeah. So the block flies over the table and falls at a distance of 1 meter. What's happening here simply, the spring energy is becoming the kinetic energy, and the kinetic energy, once you get speed from there, it is simply kinematics. Put it down, have a look at this. Clear? Next one.
So 1 second, can you go back to the brief? I'm done.
Similar thing. We have a pan, we have a spring. So K is 100 Newton per meter. This is a massless pan, so there is no mass. And this is a natural length. So we have a block here of mass 2 kg. This height is 1 meter. So a 2 kg block is dropped onto a spring balance as shown. So what will happen when this thing falls on that? The spring will get compressed, no? So the block will come, fall on the spring, and the spring will get compressed. Find the maximum compression in the spring. So the block will come, hit the pan, then the spring will compress. So what is the maximum compression in the spring? Next thing, how to do this thing then? Any ideas? One most common mistake, what people do, they write like this. The 2 into G into 1 meter is equal to half kx square. Meaning they write this potential energy is a spring energy. What is the common mistake? Something actually more than that happens. Remember one thing, always try to draw a diagram, okay? It will give a better understanding of what is happening. So this was your initial status. 2 kg. This was 1 meter. So when this thing comes and hits here, now see, this is my reference line. So let's say this is gone X down. So reality, how much did the block actually fall? Did the block fall only 1 meter? It has fallen 1 plus X, no? It has fallen more than 1 meter. So this is my state 1. So what is the gravitational potential energy? mg1. What is spring potential energy? 0. What is kinetic energy? 0. Here, this is my state 2. What is gravitational potential energy? Minus mgx, minus because it is below the reference line. Spring potential energy, half kx square. Kinetic energy, 0. So you need to understand this thing. At max compression, velocity of the block is 0. Why? Think now, if the speed is not 0, the block will continue to go further. So it is compressing more, right? That means it is not maximum. Then, since work done by external force is 0, initial energy is equal to final energy. M is how much? 2. That's 20. Is equal to minus 20x plus half k. K is 100 x square. 0, 0, 0 cancels out. You get 5x square minus 2x minus 2 is equal to 0. You get a quadratic. So x is equal to 2 plus or minus b square 4 plus 40 by 10. So you just take the positive value. You can leave it like this. That's your answer. You won't get a good answer.
Sir, the spring potential energy won't be minus half kx square.
Why minus?
It's below the reference line.
It is half k minus x whole square. So plus or minus won't matter. You're putting a minus for x, not for the whole thing. Right? Just put it on. Someone is ringing the bell. I'll just be back. Yes. It's an Amazon delivery. Copy. Next one. We have a block here. There is a string and there is a man. So this position is A. This position is B. This is 4 meters. This is 3 meters. If you remember, we did something like this in workman starting. And this man is pulling this thing with 10 newtons. So one end of a string is pulled by 10 newtons. So man pulls one end of a string with 10 newtons. And the other end is connected to a block. So what will happen? The block will start sliding. block ka mass is 5 kg. The question is find the speed when the block reaches B. Initially it is at rest. Question is clear. So we have a block of 5 kg placed at 8. There's a string connected as shown. Man is pulling with 10 newtons. So the block will start sliding on the full load. So when it reaches B, it will have some speed. So how much is that? See, you need to understand how much will the point actually move. AP was 5 meter, BP was 3 meters. So man moves how much? Man moves 2 meters, no? When block comes from A to B. So when the block goes from A to B, the man will go only this thing because this is 5 meter, this is 3 meter. What happened to the remaining 2 meter? It must have gone this way. We have done this thing in work, if you remember this question. So the difference in length of the string between the man block and the pulley is the distance moved by the thing. So what is work done by the man? I'll do it on the next page. Put this down. So the work done by the man is what? Force into displacement of point of application of force. Most people, the mistake what they do, they write force into displacement of the block. They write 4 meters. Be careful. This force into displacement of point of application of force. Wherever you're applying force, uska displacement you're interested in. So which in this case is 10 meters. And this is how much? AP minus BP. So that's 10 into 5 minus 3. That's 20 joules. And we know work done by the man is change in potential energy plus kinetic energy. Work done by external force basically. Potential energy is 0 because it is the same height. Block is not going up or down. What is change in kinetic energy? Final minus initial. Final is half mv square. Initial is 0 because initially block is at rest. So that comes out to be 20 is equal to half. Mass is 5 kg and v square. We get v square is equal to 8. So v is 2 √2 meters per second. There, that's the speed of your block. If you know how to calculate the work done, actually half the problem is over. Next one. We have a bowl like this. So this A to B in this bowl, this is rough. And the friction is 0.1 and this length is 3 meters. And you kept a block here of mass 2 kg at a height of 5 meters. And these parts are smooth. So only that, horizontal rough part that is rough and everything else is smooth. So block is released on a smooth surface. So basically it moves, by sliding on the rough part, and AB is a rough horizontal surface. Now, if you leave the block like this, what will happen? First, it will go like this, but it won't go to the same height now because you lose some energy while going on the rough part. Then again, you come back, again, you go, you keep going, and finally you stop. Does that make sense? Because the middle section is rough, eventually you have to stop because every time you go over that rough part, you slow down a little. So find the position where it stops. So the block eventually will stop because of traveling on that rough path. So where does it stop finally? Let's see. Now tell me one thing. When you are sliding, right, where do you lose all your energy? You never lose energy on the smooth surface. You lose energy all on the rough patch. That means work done by friction. If you see, friction is the one who is responsible for stealing all the energy. That will be friction into distance traveled on the rough surface. You're not actually interested in the total distance, but only on the rough patch, that distance you're interested. So this thing is how much? Minus friction into S. Friction is how much? Minus mu mg into S. Why minus? That is because both are always opposite. If it is going this way, friction is backward. Suppose if you're coming back this way, friction is still opposite. If you see now, F and S are always opposite. Negative since F and S are opposite. Great. Now we know when the block is like this is your initial state. Potential energy, Ng, 5 meters. Kinetic energy, 0, because you're starting from rest. Finally, when it stops here, potential energy, 0. Kinetic energy, 0, because you stopped. And we know then work done by friction is change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy. Or you can simply say E final minus E initial. So if you see now, you can't use, conservation of energy here because friction is an external force which is dissipating. This is minus mu mg s, E2 is 0 minus mg 5. So from here you get mg cancels out, s is equal to 5 by mu. Mu is 0.1. That is 50 meters. Meaning this block will travel 50 meters on the rough patch AB. Problem is still not over. This is the first part. So now we need to see where it will stop. So for the block to stop, it has to travel 50 meters on the rough patch. So let's see from there. Yeah. Then how do we do that?
Once.
Next thing. Now on this rough patch, AB, let's say the block goes front and comes back. How much is this? 6 meters, no? So you can say one trip is 6 meters. Now in 50 meters, how many trips you can have then? 8 trips, 8 6 are 48 plus 2 meters, no? You'll complete 8 complete revolutions, to and fro, and you'll travel 2 meters. Means finally, where will the block stop? So it will complete 8 trips, and then you will come and stop somewhere here, 2 meters from A. That's your final answer. So in the options, it will be like 2 meters from A, 1 meter from B. Like options will be given like that. So it will travel 8 times front and back, and then it will travel 2 meters and stop. Hope that was clear. So the answer is 2 meters from